UFC Paris. Imavov versus Borralho takes place this weekend. I woke up from a nap just now. Um, so, because I was watching the Eagles versus the Cowboys, but then it got like delayed because of weather, and then I accidentally took a fucking nap. So, but I'm up now, and I want to make my predictions video real quick. Let's get ready here. That's not what I wanted to do. There we go. Alright. I apologize for this very short video. I've been moving all week because I'm moving into a new place, a new house. So I've been moving and I've been working. Haven't had much time to do a lot of research for this card, but I feel like I've done enough to at least give some sort of take on all the fights. First fight of the night, Shanna Bannon versus Sam Hughes. I'm going Shanna Bannon. I mean, she's fighting Sam Hughes. I don't really know if I gotta say anything else. Shanna is a way better striker. She's very elusive on the feet. And didn't she just submit Puja Tomar or something like that? I don't know, something like that. Sam Hughes is Sam Hughes. That's all I need to say. Shanna Bannon is a very elusive striker. She's going to take this one. Moving on to Andreas Gustafsson versus Renat Fakhretdinov. I'm going to go with Andreas Gustafsson. Just because I have a personal opinion about Renat Fakhretdinov, and it's really bad. I don't think Renat is good at all. I think people watched the Kevin Lee fight and thought, oh my god, this guy beat Kevin Lee. He's fucking gonna be good. I saw right through that. I actually thought Renat lost like 3 fights in a row that he won. I thought he definitely lost against Carlos Leo. There's no argument there. He lost that fight. I also thought he lost against Zaleski dos Santos and what's the other dude's name? You guys know who I'm talking about. I can't think of it right now in a moment, but Nicholas Dalby. I thought that they all beat Renat Fakhretdinov, and Renat just doesn't look good ever, right? So Andreas Gustafsson, I knew that he was good ever since before he debuted in the UFC. I went through his catalog. I watched every fight. I'm like, you know what, this guy's actually pretty good. And who did he fight in his debut again? Chaos Williams. Yeah. I knew he'd beat Chaos Williams. I knew he would win that fight. And I think he's gonna win this one as well because Renat just isn't that good. And Andreas Gustafsson is a dog, bro. He will sling it out, and he has such an exhausting, dude. Andreas Gustafsson has such an exhausting fight style, bro. If you're fighting Andreas Gustafsson, you're gonna get so exhausted with the way he fights. It's so frustrating, pushing you up against the fence while landing blow, hit, punch. It's just he's non-stop with his little punches, and it's just so frustrating to have to fight this guy, I would imagine. And I think that Renat is gonna have the same fate as Chaos Williams, man. I think Andreas Gustafsson is just gonna be too powerful, too physical out there, too physically strong. Yeah. I got Andreas Gustafsson, dude, by a smushing decision, bro. Just being way too active, doing way too much out there. Damn! I didn't realize Renat was 23-1. That's a damn good record for someone that doesn't ever look good. That's crazy. But yeah, Andreas Gustafsson's got this one. Moving on, Brad Tavares versus Robert. Yeah, I don't think I need to elaborate on this. Brad Tavares is winning. 17-6 is just 21-11 isn't good either at all. But at least Brad Tavares has the UFC experience. He's been in there with the best of the best. He's been in there with Whitaker. He's been in there with Adesanya. He's been in there with RoboCop. Like, These are the guys he's losing to. You know what I'm saying? He has a lot of losses, 11 losses. But think of the guys he's losing to, right? Robert Whittaker, Israel Adesanya, fucking, like, dude, Dricus du Plessis. Like, the losses Brad Tavares has, although he has a lot of them, look at who the losses are, though. You know what I'm saying? And then you look at the losses of Robert, however you say this guy's name, and what is his last fight? He lost to Ihor Potieria. Now, don't get me wrong. I love Ihor Potieria, and I've been a fan of him for so long. But you shouldn't be losing to him, bro. Ever. You know? So, dude, Brad Tavares is taking it. He's a really, really good striker. Or at least he used to be. But he's a really good counter grappler. You cannot take down Brad Tavares. It just doesn't happen. His takedown defense is too good. And he's really good on the feet as well. You know, gave DDP a war. I mean, this guy's not giving the DDP a war at any point in his career. So, I got Brad Tavares winning here. Robert is just fucking awful. Moving on. Sam Patterson versus Trey Waters. Do I have notes on this one? Oh, shut up. Let me see if I got notes for this one. I do. I do indeed. I'm taking Sam Patterson here because, for one, Trey Waters relies way too much on having the reach advantage here, and he's not going to have it. Sam Patterson's actually going to have the reach and length advantage here. Sam is also just more well-rounded, and he's just... Yeah, I think Sam Patterson is really good. I know he's had a few losses, 2 losses, and one of them getting knocked out against, he got knocked out really badly against Yanel Ashmouz, was it? But he's moved up to welterweight. He's on a streak. He's been looking really good. He has nasty hands, nasty kicks, nasty jiu-jitsu. I mean, Sam Patterson is he's a problem, dude, and he's really good. Trey Waters, you know, I don't know if you guys watched his last fight. I forgot who the name was, but he had 0 defense. And he only won that fight because he was relying a lot on his reach and length advantage, and he's not going to have that here. So when you take away somebody's best and honestly only really good aspect of their game, they fall apart typically. So I got Sam Patterson in this one. Being too good, being too clean, being too well-rounded. I see Sam Patterson being better, whether it's on the feet or on the ground. Like, I could see Sam Patterson getting a knockout. I can see him winning by decision or getting a submission. So, Sam Patterson has the edge here in every aspect of MMA. He's better, and I expect him to look really, really good here. So, moving on to Harry Hardwick versus Caio Fernandez. I think I have notes on this one as well, actually. Pull up the notes. Yeah, right here. Okay, here we go. I'm so tired. I'm taking Caio Fernandez here, of course. I mean, Harry Hardwick, I think Harry Hardwick is very good for the sport in terms of just, like, hyping up fights, because Harry Hardwick talks a lot of shit. He kind of gets in there. But he's going to lose this one. I don't like the fact that this is short notice for Harry Hardwick. Fernandez is bigger. He's a better striker, and he's a better grappler. Bigger, longer. And, this is short notice again for Harry Hardwick, and I don't know. I've seen Hardwick tagged pretty badly against absolute nobodies in Cage Warriors, Caio Fernandez is coming off of a win against Guram Kutateledze. He beat someone else as well. I'm trying to remember who. I don't remember, but... Dude, I got Caio Fernandez here. I think he's going to knock Harry Hardwick out. Knockout by Caio Fernandez, dude. Like, round 1, I think. And, Harry Hardwick is... gonna have to eat a devastating loss here, I think. So, sucks for him, but, you know, when you talk about the GOAT Anthony Smith like that, you know what I'm saying? Bad shit happens. Watch your mouth, Harry Hardwick. Moving on to Marcin Tybura versus Ante Delija, some shit like that. Marcin Tybura already beat him, I believe, but I also believe it was like a pretty uneventful leg injury from, you know, Ante. So not really a fight that should be counted, but I'm still taking Marcin Tybura here. I mean, I know that Ante is a big, powerful guy, but even when he looks good, he looks bad. Like he just got a first round TKO against, what was that guy's name? De Castro. But he was getting touched on his sweet spot multiple times before that knockout. You know, he was getting hit and he was wobbling, and you know, when you look bad, even when you look good, you know, it's not really good. And honestly, even if he was just really good, Tybura is honestly just a really hard matchup for anyone to have in their debut. I mean, Marcin Tybura is a ranked mainstay in the heavyweight division, and he's been around, seen it all, fought it all. 27-9, been in the UFC for years. He's seen it all. And Ante he isn't. I don't think he's gonna bring anything that Marcin Tybura hasn't seen. He's fought Tom Aspinall. He's fought fucking Tai Tuivasa. He's fought Sergey Spivak. You know what I'm saying? I believe. So it's like Ante has fought absolute nobodies, and he doesn't really look particularly good against them. So, and he was TKO'd very embarrassingly in a PFL fight he had not too long ago in the first round, where he just gave up. He got hit with like an elbow and a knee, and then just did this. While, what's his name? Moldavsky just unloaded on him, standing TKO, absolute gave up. Marcin Tybura is getting him out of there, dude. He's getting him the fuck out of there. Marcin Tybura by knockout, round 2. Some shit like that. Moving on, Omar Sy versus Brenson Ribeiro. Oh, God, I don't know, dude. Omar Sy, I guess. I'm not picking Brenson Ribeiro again. I took an absolute long shot when I took him against who did he just fucking lose to, dude? Azamat Murzakanov. I took an absolute long shot when I took him over Azamat Murzakanov, and he just goes in there and gets absolutely crumbled in like a minute. So I'm not, and he looked terrible. I'm not up to picking Brenson Ribeiro. Omar Sy, didn't he just lose to Alonzo Menifield? I'm sorry, but Alonzo Menifield is actually not that bad of a loss. I mean, I guess having a loss to Azamat Murzakanov is better because Azamat is better than him, but I don't know. Umar Sy is 11-1. He's very, very athletic, very strong and long for this division. He's the hometown guy here in France, so I see him performing really well. I'm going to go with Omar Sy here. By decision, probably. But yeah, Omar Sy's got this. Yeah. Moving on. William Gomez versus Robert. What the hell? Alright, we're going to have to... Hold on. Are you guys seeing this right now? Hold on, let me show you this. Oh, look at this. Look at how they have him positioned on screen. This is ridiculous. We're going to cover up his fucking mug. See if I can fix this, though. Nope, it's going to stay like that. All right. Anyways, I'm taking William Gomez. Where are my notes on this fight? Nope. Right here. I got William Gomez here because he's got the UFC experience. He's been in the UFC for a little while, has a lot of fights. He beat Joe Anderson Brito, which is a really good win. I'm not impressed by Ruchella, because he was getting tagged a lot. I don't know if you guys watched Robert Ruchella versus what's his name, Formula. But Formula was tagging him the fuck up, even though he did win that fight. You know, I'm just not impressed by Ruchella. And I will say, my one thing in this fight that led me to pick William Gomez is, I do think that William Gomez is good. But William Gomez is a counter striker. It's like his best attribute in his striking. He's really good at stepping out of range and countering shots. And Ruchella is a go forward fighter. He'll go forward. He'll push the pace. He'll try to force his game on you. He tries to drown you in pressure. And typically that just doesn't really work too well against William Gomez. It worked for Haider Emil a little bit, to be fair. But I don't think that Ruchella is Haider Emil level. So. And typically, even though it happened, I still think that typically, if you're a pressure fighter, you don't really perform that well against William Gomez. Just like Joe Anderson Brito. So, I got William Gomez here. I'm just not impressed by Robert Ruchella. Moving on. Pitbull versus Kita. I'm going Kita here. I really like what I see in Lucini Kita. I really like what I see, if I'm being honest here. Dude, Kita is a strong, powerful, fast striker. He's got it all. He's well-rounded. He can grapple a little bit, too. He's young, hungry. He's 27 years old. 2-division champion at 27. And I can't sit here and I'm gonna be honest, I can't sit here and just trust in Patricio Pitbull, because I know I picked Dan Ige against him, and I feel like Dan Ige really underperformed in that fight. But after just seeing what Yair Rodriguez did to you in the boxing, like if you won the boxing exchanges but lost in the kickboxing exchanges to Yair, it'd be a bit more understandable. But Pitbull legitimately got outboxed by Yair Rodriguez and dropped with a 1-2. And it's just like completely dominated by Yair. Had absolutely zero like success in that fight. He's getting older, so that's not helping him at all. I got Kita here, dude, because I really like what I see, you know. I don't think that's what Kita's body looks like, dude. Every fight I watched, he looked a bit stockier than that, more muscles, looked stronger. That's a weird picture, but yeah, dude. I'm a little worried though for Kita though, because even though he did KO, what's that name, Paradisir, whatever. Although he did knock him out the entire first round, he struggled to really land anything, you know. So that was a bit worrying, but Pitbull's shorter than him and all that, so I'm gonna go with Kita here, bro. I think he's been looking really, really good, and I really like his game. And I think he matches up really well against Pitbull. You know, another short, stockier kind of grappler, kind of tight. Yeah, Kita beats those guys. I think to beat Kita, you kind of have to be like a long, rangy counter strike. Like, dude, William Gomez, dude, probably beats Kita. You know what I'm saying? Like a long, rangy counter striker gives Kita problems, man, with that kind of style. But a shorter, stockier grappler, no. Kita beats those all day unless you're some crazy championship caliber guy, which I don't think Pitbull is at this point in his career. So I'm going with Kita. Moving on to Axel Sola versus Reese McKee. Let's be fucking serious here. Nobody's picking Reese McKee here. Absolutely nobody's picking Reese McKee. Um, Solo's a way better striker, a way better grappler. He's undefeated. Reese is 14-6 with 1 win in the UFC and like 4 fights in the UFC total, 5 fights. No. Axel Sola is going to go in here and take his soul like really, really, really badly. So Axel Sola is a really dangerous striker. He throws with merit, he throws with heat, but very technically as well at the same time. He pressures. He's relentless, and he can keep a pace. So Reese McKee typically goes out there to get messed up. You know what I'm saying? So Axel Sola's got it. He's got it in the bag, man. Moving on. Borralho versus Mason Jones. I went back and forth with this one all week, but I'm going with Mason Jones. And I'm going to tell you why. Yes, Borralho can definitely win, because I was mixed up with this all week, So clearly I had Borralho at one point. Then I went to Mason Jones, and I was like, but Oki. Because Oki's looked really good, but... And he was kind of tagging Chris Duncan a little bit, but... And then he got, submitted with a guillotine. But then it was his last performance against that one guy on short notice. Who was it? Yes, Michael Aswell. Dude, Michael Aswell, I believe, was like short notice. He was doing really good too, and I didn't think Oki really looked that good in that fight. And Mason Jones, people bag on Mason Jones. Oh, having a war with Jeremy Stephens in 2025. He's cooked. Like, dude, I get that Jeremy Stephens is kind of washed at this point in his career, and he's not really, but he's still Jeremy Stephens. He's still that guy that fought the best of the best, fought Jose Aldo, fought Calvin Kattar in his prime, fought this guy and that guy, fucking KO Josh Emmett, and being real here, dude, Jeremy Stephens, although he's not technically good and he's got a lot of losses, he's historically in his whole career, he's just typically not a guy that anybody just blazes through. He's a marauder. He can take punishment and dish out even more. Jeremy Stephens is a fighter who is built to go to war with anybody. You know what I'm saying? Borralho would not smoke Jeremy Stephens. People are like, when people talk about Mason Jones having a war with Jeremy Stephens, being like, oh, Oki's going to win because Jones went to war with, Do you guys realize that Borralho would not go out there and just smoke Jeremy Stephens in a round? Borralho would go to war as well with Jeremy Stephens, win or lose. You know what I'm saying? So I don't like that narrative from people picking Borralho, by going, this guy had a war with Jeremy Stephens. Jeremy Stephens is a war machine. He will bring a war out of you. That's just who he is. He's a brawler. In fact, I want to check something real quick. Jeremy Stephens had a draw in boxing with Jose Aldo, in 2024 or 3. It's ridiculous, dude. Like, that is impressive to do. Because Jose Aldo is a great boxer. And it's like, okay, Jeremy Stephens got smoked by Mateus Gamrot. Dude, Mateus Gamrot would smoke both of these guys in a night. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I don't know. I think that Jeremy Stephens' war looks good for Mason Jones, whereas a lot of people think it looks bad. And Mason Jones is an absolute marauder himself. He goes to war. He's tough and durable and can dish out damage. Borralho is one of those guys where he can go out there and smoke you, But if Borralho doesn't go out there and smoke you, he typically doesn't perform that well. He doesn't perform well over long distance fights. And I don't see him going out there and smoking Mason Jones in a round. I see this being a war where it gets dragged out to the third round decision. Mason Jones does better in those later rounds, you know? I see him win, maybe losing round one. Borralho hits harder, so he probably goes out there and wins first round. But he doesn't smoke Mason Jones, so second round comes, looks decent, but not as good as the first round, the first half of the second round. Mason Jones takes over the second half of the second round, wins it, and then dominates round three, you know? I got Mason Jones here. Crucify me if you want, but I got Mason Jones. Moving on. Modestas Bukauskas versus Paul Craig. Another win for Paul Craig. I'm joking. I'll never pick Paul Craig in the UFC. Modestas Bukauskas is going to get this by knockout in round one. I think Modestas Bukauskas is going to go out there. I think he's going to drop Paul Craig in like 30 seconds to a minute. Paul Craig is going to grab a limb on his way down like a leg. Bukauskas is going to get away from that. He's going to isolate himself, and then the rest going to stand it up. Paul Craig is going to come back in, try to get a takedown. Uppercut from Modestas Bukauskas. Left hook, right hook, left hook, right hook. Left overhand. Paul Craig is fucking out. I mean, Paul Craig has no striking whatsoever. He got 30-27 by Bo Nickel on the feet. And he can't wrestle. He only has jiu-jitsu. Maybe he can win if Modestas drops him and then goes for a finish and then gets caught in like an arm triangle or something. But Paul Craig has already done that a few times. I don't see him doing that again. You typically don't win the exact same way multiple times. So, and that's the only way Paul Craig can win. So, I got Modestas Bukauskas, man. He's a big, powerful dude for the division. Good striking, decent grappling. Yeah. He's going to beat Paul Craig, dude. I love Paul Craig. Paul Craig is, dude, he's such a cool guy, such a cool fighter. I love watching him fight because you always know you're going to see something crazy. Either him getting flatlined again or him getting flatlined and then have a submission comeback win. That's how Paul Craig fights go. So, yeah, but Modestas Bukauskas got it, bro. You know, because Modestas is better than his record suggests. 18-6. It's not a good record. But I actually think Bukauskas is pretty good. So, and Modestas trains with Tom Aspinall too. So at that gym, so he's always getting really good training with with Tom Aspinall, and I believe Modestas is only going to get better. Whereas Paul Craig, I mean, he's not going to get better. So I got Modestas by round one knockout. Honestly, yeah. Moving on. And Paul Craig is back up at light heavyweight. Them boys hit harder up there. So, yeah. Moving on to the co-main event. Benoit Saint-Denis versus Mauricio Huffy. This is easy. Huffy's winning this by knockout round one. Benoit Saint-Denis isn't that good. And I've been saying this. I've kind of been on a Benoit Saint-Denis hate watch for the past few years. It's not because of anything he's done, it's the fans. When he was the favorite over Dustin Poirier, and a lot of people on Twitter were like, oh, Benoit Saint-Denis is going to teach this old guy a lesson. Dustin Poirier's out of here. Benoit's the new guard. He's getting Dustin out of there. I would look at those comments and just be like, bro, do you know MMA at all? Like, I remember I watched both of these guys fight, Benoit Saint-Denis and Poirier. I went back and watched their fight catalogs. I'm like, where do you see Benoit succeeding in this fight? And he didn't have any success. Let's be real. The only success he had was when Poirier jumped a guillotine and gave Benoit Saint-Denis takedowns, and he still couldn't do anything. So, and then he goes out there and gets 10-8'd by Renato Moicano. 10-8'd by Renato Moicano. Nasty ground and pound. And then gets the fight stopped due to the cut that he sustained in the first round. Opened up after round two. And Mauricio Ufi, he goes out here. Now, granted, he didn't have that good of a performance against James Lontop, but James Lontop came in way overweight, and he was a fat, unfinishable Mexican. But he still didn't look that good. You know, James Lontop was landing some decent shots, cracking Huffy back. But then he goes out there, absolutely sleeps Bobby Green. Don't get me wrong, Benoit Saint-Denis would also beat Bobby Green. But Mauricio Huffy just did it in such a cool way. And, dude, he's cool. Huffy is cool. He does remind me of Connor a little bit. The way he strikes. He's nice. He's nice, man. And he's really good. And Benoit Saint-Denis has got absolutely no defense at all. I don't know if you guys watch Benoit Saint-Denis striking, but he doesn't defend himself. And his chin isn't the greatest either. I don't know if you guys remember, but he got tagged badly by Prepolek in his last fight before he got the sub. Dude, tagged badly. Mauricio Hufi lands that shot, and Saint-Denis going out, sleeping, snoozing on the canvas, you know? And I don't see... Benoit Saint-Denis winning any striking exchanges here. And I also can't see him controlling Huffy on the ground long enough to win rounds with grappling. I don't see him submitting Huffy either. So I'm all in here on Mauricio Huffy, honestly. So yeah, Mauricio Huffy, round 1 knockout. Moving on, I'm going to yap about this fight. Nassourdine Imavov versus Caio Borralho. My computer turned off. There we go. I hope you guys are ready to hear me yap about this, man, because I'm about to yap here. Ever since this fight was announced, I admitted on Twitter that this was going to be one of the hardest fights for me to predict of the year. Because they're both so good, and they both can win this. I just have a few issues here. I like Caio Borralho more. I want Caio Borralho to win. Therefore, I want to be biased towards Caio Borralho and find a way to pick him, but I just can't. I'm going with Nassourdine Imavov because he's just done things that Caio Borralho hasn't. And that's just a simple fact. Like, Nassourdine Imavov became the first guy in his last fight. He became the first guy to really knock out Israel Adesanya in MMA. You could say, oh yeah, Pereira got that TKO. It's a standing TKO, you know? Nassourdine Imavov dropped him and literally like put him out for a second and then woke him up with ground and pound shots, you know? He put Izzy out, you know? And that is, I don't know if you guys understand truly how impressive that is. Because, yes, Izzy can lose now, you know? Izzy can lose nowadays, and it's not that surprising. You know, dominated by Sean Strickland, finished by Duplessis, finished by Pereira. But these are fights, though. Like, Pereira was losing the first fight when he TKO'd Adesanya. He was losing it before that TKO. Duplessis had a very competitive scrap until he pulled off a submission. And Sean Strickland just used his striking style to neutralize Izzy, but didn't really set himself too far above Israel. It was just kind of outside of the first round, it was a pretty damage-less tit-for-tat win for Sean Strickland. Nassourdine Imavov literally put mustard on him with that shot. He literally threw the overhand, put him on his ass, and then beat the shit out of him, you know, with the ground and pound. Like, we've never seen anybody else do that to Israel Adesanya. Crazy. He goes out there and he dominates. I don't want to say dominates. I hate Brendan Allen. I think Brendan Allen is an absolute cunt. YouTube probably won't like that word, but he is. He's so annoying. He won the first round, but then he clearly lost rounds 2 and 3 against Imavov. And Imavov looked really good in those 2 rounds. But the one thing that kind of had me switching towards Caio, though, for a little bit was the Jared Cannonier fight. I think Caio Borralho's Jared Cannonier performance is more impressive than Nassourdine Imavov's. Because, yeah, technically Nassourdine Imavov knocked out, saying got a TKO win against Jared Cannonier, but it was one of the worst stoppages I've ever seen in my entire life. And Kyle Borralho Kyle Borralho slept Jared Cannonier, like absolutely separated Jared Cannonier miles away from consciousness. Jared Cannonier is just one of those guys, though, that is just so damn hard to put away. He came back to it and survived for the rest of the fight and lost by decision. But Jared Cannonier looked really good in both fights. Like, he genuinely could have been winning rounds in both fights. I just thought Kyle Borralho looked better against Jared Cannonier specifically. But it's really... Listen, if Imavov didn't knock out Adesanya like that, I probably would go Kyle Borralho. But Imavov has been fighting a tad better competition, and he's putting on better performances against them. I'm sorry, but I can't pick Kyle Borralho based off of a knockout win he had against Paul Craig. You know? He knocked out Paul Craig 2 fights ago, and then had a decision win against Jared Cannonier. Imavov knocked out Adesanya. He knocked out Cannonier, and he beat Brendan Allen, Brendan Allen is better than Paul Craig, you know? I don't know. I just think he's done a bit better. I think Imavov's boxing is also a bit cleaner than Kyle's. Imavov just kind of has a bit more versatile striking game. He throws kicks better and more often. You know, it's just what it is. I think Imavov is just a bit better on the feet, and I don't see this going to the ground much because both guys are really good at defensively grappling. Both of these guys' defensive grappling, I believe, is better than their offensive, so I don't see much grappling here. I see this being a striking battle, and I see Imavov just being a tad bit better on the feet, honestly. And Kyle Borralho has fought 0 world champions in the UFC. Imavov is 1-1 against them. He lost to Sean Strickland and beat Adesanya, so I really want to pick Kyle, but I just feel too propelled to pick Imavov. So, I haven't made it yet, but Imavov's he's the underdog here. So he actually, or at least the last time I checked he was. I'm actually going to pick him as my underdog of the week tomorrow at work. So, yeah. I think that wraps this video up, though. I got Nasruddin Imavov by decision in the main event. Decision. Because Kyle Borralho is unfinishable. Anyways, video is 37 minutes long. I think that is plenty long enough. Thank you guys for checking this out. I'll see you guys on the predictions video. And I can't wait for you guys to see my new setup in the new house. I'm gonna have a cool background when I make my videos, hopefully. So, all right, I appreciate you guys stopping by. If both fighting nerds win in spectacular fashion, I'll never pick against any of them ever again. Just saying. Although I will say though, if I'm picking Imavov here, but if both these guys fight Khamzat Chimaev, I see Kyle Borralho doing much better against Khamzat Chimaev than I do Imavov. So, yeah. But there you go. Imavov's got it. See you.